talk about network structure and modularity. Specifically, we're also going to be talking about Cisco Architectures. And the architectures they've laid out, basically, for each of them, there's a great blueprint on how to design and architect a solution for a given scenario, like data center. Cisco is now one of the leaders. I think they are the leader now, officially, recently. The leader in the unified computing space. And what that is in the data center marketplace is data center networking and also data center compute. They now make UCS services or unified computing services. And they're great products. I built a data center in South Texas using those UCS servers, and they're phenomenal. Loved them. And there's blueprint designs for that. And then they've also got a borderless network architecture, which includes wired and wireless access and remote sites from anything from remote sites to borderless networking within your organization. And that's router switches and APs and wireless controllers and also things like identity services and security, ASAs. All that stuff is under the borderless network architecture. Basically all the infrastructure style equipment, whether it's security or route switch, it's all under borderless network architecture. Then we've got collaboration architecture, and that is for like a voice and contact center and all the things that are required for communications, video products, real-time video trafficking, content networking. That's really under borderless too. That's kind of a subset. We'll talk about the Cisco Content Delivery Network a little bit later. But with these three architectures, basically, are designed to provide a end-to-end total solution, from a single brand. It's really amazing. And so we're going to be talking about these architectures, and then later on, of course, we're going to be talking about some of the products that fit in these architectures and the kind of the design characteristics of designing for data center and designing for voice and designing for secure borderless networks. Okay, and so each area has its own experts, budget, challenges, right? And so with these architectures too, they've also aligned these three architectures to the Cisco partner space. So, if you're working with a Cisco partner, they should be certified in like collaboration architecture. If they're going to deploy that type of Cisco solution, they should be specialized in that, which requires certifications for several different individuals to become specialized in those architectures. And once you're specialized, then and only then those partners could order and build and design those networks and place orders from Cisco or a distribution partner at that point. So an organizational network, you can think of it as kind of like three components, right? The data center, network, and applications. And really, you don't even separate voice anymore. It is a separate architecture, the collaboration architecture. It doesn't just include the telephones, right? It's things like WebEx and Meeting Place and online meetings and video conferencing. But my point is that really in today's network, collaboration and is really kind of built on the same, obviously, it's built on the same network as the borderless network architecture is, right? So anyway, we're going to take a look at these. And this is an example of the borderless network architecture. And so basically, it doesn't have all the components here. It's just kind of the services and the systems and the infrastructure, right? So if you look at the infrastructure, that would include things for like a wireless, right? For routing, switching, application, network optimization. So, a couple different things that come to mind like WAS, and that's to ensure the WAN connectivity is optimal for, is basically optimal, right? And making the best use of WAN bandwidth. And then security. And then borderless network systems come with unified access. Unified access basically is a new concept too. I mean, in design, there's all these cool things that you get to learn about, right? And so unified access is a biggie right now. And what it's about is being able to access any part of the network from any device anywhere and securely. And this basically has a couple components with it. So like if you look at unified access, you're going to look at components like Cisco Pi. That's prime infrastructure, and that's basically the network management and monitoring platform for all the Cisco borderless architecture for wired and wireless, okay? It's also got the Wilsey controllers, which could be the new 3850 switches, something like that. And this is how we're terminating like gig wireless. And then since we're terminating at the switch level, then we can understand the traffic patterns and traffic types throughout the network. You know, and I'm going to talk about wireless later as a separate component, but wireless, we used to send everything in an encapsulated CAPWAP packet back to the controller for distribution in the network. Well, with the new 3850s, we're dropping that traffic off right as soon as it comes in from the AP. So with that, we have visibility into that traffic type, where before we had to route all of it back to, you know, a centralized controller, and then that controller, as that, you know, distributed to the network, we could see it there. But this gives us a lot better visibility into that. But also, it brings into account the Identity Services Engine, which that's a product that combines the Cisco ACS services and network access control products into one package for things like you know, secure authentication and group profiling and posture profiling. And that's basically understanding, you know, okay, we've got this user who has permissions to do things, but do the permissions need to vary if he's on his work laptop or his tablet from home? If there's a difference there, then you need something like Identity Service Engine to profile the devices that might be used by a user, and then also grant permissions based on, you know, not only the user, whether he has access to them or not, but making sure his device is compliant with corporate policies before we provide access. So you may be authorized to access it on your laptop, but if you get on your home tablet and we don't know that you've got, you know, security on it, then you may not be able to access it from there. And so, but the whole point is to give access whenever possible to whatever possible. So if you look at the borderless endpoint, you know, you get everything from PDAs, tablets, okay, to you know, laptops and cell phones and telepresence and IP phones, IP cameras, all that stuff, right? And anywhere access could be from home. So that's pretty cool. The next gen WAN, like we talked about, like WAS services, things like that. And then, so there's lots of different moving pieces that make up these methodologies and these frameworks. And so, you know, a framework basically says, here's the components required for a given thing, right? Typically, you know, you got to understand the context, I guess, of the term, right? But it's a blueprint, right, for success in a given area of network design. So anyway, we'll talk more about all these things as we go along, like TrustSec security, energy-wise management, that's making best use of the power requirements of all your network devices that are relying on switches to gain their power, right? So pretty cool stuff. All right, so some of the design methods, and we're going to talk too about the collaboration architecture and the data center architecture. Don't worry, we're going to talk about them too. Actually, you know what? Give me just a sec, I'll be right back.